Hello everyone. Welcome to Success Stories with Surabhi. My name is Surabhi Nigam Tula. Today we have a very special corporate professional with us. His name is Mr. Sandeep Nagpal. He is currently Vice President Marketing with Cvent. Hello Mr. Nagpal, welcome to you for the show.
Hi, Surabhi. It's always great to talk to you.
Great.
Thank you for
So,
having me.
pleasure is all mine. So Mr. Nagpal, why don't you share something about yourself? Yeah.
Sure. Surabhi, you already introduced me. I currently work for Cvent as a vice president of marketing. Been in the industry for about 2.5 decades. Started
Mm-hmm.
my career in about '93. Uh,
Wow.
basically a mechanical engineer.
Yeah.
Come from a 4G family.
Wow.
So been in the country in various parts of the country.
Wow.
Uh, Before I went for my engineering in Pune, I
Mm-hmm.
was I was in Punjab
Mm-hmm.
for some time and did my schooling from there.
Wow.
Um, did my engineering in Pune, as I said. Then I
Mm-hmm.
started my career in a brick and mortar industry,
Mm.
right? So I was
Wow.
basically I started my career with a company called Denso
Mm.
as
Yeah.
a design engineer, right?
Wow.
And very soon in my career, I realized that design is not my cup of tea. I was more of a techno-commercial person in that sense. So
Right.
moved from there, worked for
Mm.
various multinationals, worked
Mm-hmm.
for Honda, worked for New Holland Tractors, worked for
Lovely.
Canon. Most of it was in the techno-commercial field.
Mm-hmm.
And towards 98, 99 is when the computer bug caught me in some sense, because that was a time when
Yeah.
we were studying computers were scarce, right? So
Right.
you can call me dinosaur in that sense, right? Yeah, 99 is when I was in New Holland Tractors, when I actually got an interface with computers, and I was implementing ERP system functionally for them. And that's when things changed.
Mm-hmm.
My love for computers, my understanding for computers started increasing.
Right.
And you call me lucky. I got a call from a headhunter to for an interview with Microsoft
Lovely.
in 2000, and I was like wondering why would
Mm.
Microsoft be interested in me?
Okay.
But it was as the luck would have it, I went through the
Yeah.
cycle of interviews, and there I was. I
Wow.
was hired by Microsoft in the year 2000, and then after that, it has been the software industry
Yeah.
for almost now what 2 decades. Been
Wow.
in Nokia, maybe was in Microsoft for about 8 9 years. Then worked for Nokia as mobility head. Then moved to SAP. Worked for SAP for like close to
Mm.
about 8 years. Various functions. Last I was in an Asia Pacific role as a vice president, and
Wow.
then I moved back and started working for this incredible company called Cvent, which is basically into the hospitality and
Right.
events there. And I run the global marketing for them from India. So that's what I have done as a professional. If that kind of covers my initial introduction, and we'll go with the flow.
I kept on saying wow at each moment. You know, people think about the brands, even if they work for one brand, it's amazing. And you worked for around so many, which is
Yeah,
very profound.
yeah, I've been lucky, I would say.
Luck only comes to those who people work for it only, which is great.
Thank you.
Good, glad. So, Mr. Nagpal, what is success for you?
Well, I think success, has very different meanings for different people. For me, I think it's about satisfaction.
Yeah,
It's more, do I enjoy what I do, right?
yeah.
Whether it's personal or professional, you know, uh, I I have always looked at a job in a way
Mm-hmm.
that, I always have, whenever I took a job, in fact, I would say after I joined Microsoft, uh,
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a very incredible moment for me in my life, very overwhelming, but very incredible moment. But
Well,
that also taught me a lot of stuff related
I'm
to
sure.
success. A lot of people who would have joined would have taken it as a success that, joining Microsoft at that time was like
Hmm.
very few people used to work for Microsoft at that time, right? So for
Yeah.
me, it was definitely a success. But that journey taught me a lot because I changed like 3 or 4 roles in about 9 years. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and and what happened was that the company gave me great opportunities, and after that, almost every company gave that opportunity to me. But
Yeah.
what happened was that for me, important thing was why am I taking this role? Why am I doing
Yeah.
this? Right?
Why are you doing this? Yeah.
Am I going to join? Am I going to contribute to this? Can I look
Yeah.
back and say I built something? You know,
Yeah. Mm.
and I never looked for like, can I work for this company for 10 years, right? I always
Yeah.
looked for, can I look at this company for like, hey, I did a great job. I left something great as a legacy, right? So for me, every role
Hmm.
was a success journey in that sense, right? Uh,
Right.
I succeeded in some, I didn't succeed in some, which will always
Yeah.
be the case. But it's
Yeah.
always momentarily, right? So momentarily you feel disillusioned that I couldn't achieve something. Then you
Hmm.
feel, you take another path and you make
Hmm.
some good things about it. You
Hmm.
enjoyed the journey and you say, hey,
Hmm.
you know what? I really succeeded. So I think success is never an absolute thing. It's always a journey. You keep
Ongoing.
getting
Yeah.
your milestones, and every milestone you celebrate, and then you say,
Yeah.
next journey, right? So I think
Absolutely.
so every milestone is a success in that sense.
Brilliant. So, whatever the journey which you have shared so far, what are the five key things which you have worked upon specifically, and that's why you are so successful in corporate world?
Again, I mean, success is relative, so I'm humbled and you're too generous for that. But
Yeah.
I can tell you what worked for me. Okay,
Yeah.
I think I can probably say 3 to 4 things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, One was keeping your values intact, right? Why do
Yeah.
you need to have your own values, right?
Absolutely.
Don't compromise on your values
Hmm.
early in the game and whatever. You should never compromise on your values, right? So,
Yeah.
uh, second was, you know, perseverance. So,
Yeah.
मेरा एक बॉस होता था, he used to say,
Yeah.
लगे रहो, you know
Huh.
so
Huh.
perseverance is all about lage raho, right? Don't lose
Right.
heart. Things will come, things
Right.
will go, right? Some things will work,
Yeah.
some things will not work, but if your
Hmm.
journey is right, if you're
Hmm.
if whatever you kind of going after, if that's right,
Hmm.
and it
Hmm.
is right, and your methods are right, you keeping your
Hmm.
values in the system, I
Hmm.
think success is a foregone conclusion in that sense, right? It'll come, right? The third thing I would say is people, you know,
Yeah.
build relationships. Uh, you know,
Absolutely.
and I always, whenever I talk to the MBA students and others and all stuff, I always say
Yeah.
relationships should never be built with a motive of
Hmm.
getting something back.
Absolutely.
It
Zero
should be
down
like
to this. Yeah.
it's like a mutual fund SIPs, right? Keep investing, keep investing,
Yeah.
keep investing. At some
Yeah.
point of time, it will, have an incredible value for you, and
Right.
it'll create wealth for you, right? And wealth is
Yeah.
again, in metaphorical terms, but that's
Yeah.
how it is. So I
Yeah.
think these are the three things that have always kept me going. Other than that, I think I am also a believer that
Hmm.
faith and patience. To have a
Faith
faith
and
in,
patience.
yeah,
Yeah.
faith. Have faith in your ability, your team's ability, your people's
Yeah.
around you and all stuff, and then keep patience.
True.
Nothing comes quick. Rome was not built in a day, so
Yeah.
nothing comes. So I think that's probably been few things that I have kind of kept with me. Um,
Yeah.
that also brings me to very interesting anecdotal
Uh-huh.
thing that happened with me. Now that you brought it up, very
Mm-hmm.
early in my career,
Yeah.
there was this manager of mine. Well, he was not directly manager, but quite senior guy.
Mm-hmm.
Rest in peace, he's no more. But he was one guy who told me very interesting thing. I was a young rookie in one of the companies,
Okay.
and I was very frustrated one day. ये क्यों नहीं हो रहा है, कुछ होता नहीं
Hmm.
है, ये नहीं है.
Hmm.
But, your manager was being tough on
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And मैं ये नहीं करूँगा, मेरे से ये नहीं होता. All
Hmm.
those kind of young guys, young kids do it. So
Yeah.
he mentioned to me very interesting thing. He said, uh, you understand what is naukri? And I said, naukri matlab naukar.
Hmm.
Naukar matlab no nakra. Okay,
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
it was very interesting anecdotal old wisdom,
Yeah.
and that is one thing that left with me was always with me in my most of the organization. That
Sure.
when you're doing a job, you're doing a job. Don't carry your ego and nakra and all
Yeah.
of that stuff. I mean, keep your values, but keep your ego aside,
Ego
right? So I think
aside.
also worked a lot. Part of my success journey, I would say. So
Great.
hopefully.
So I was about to ask you this question. What are the things which you have not done? So you have one thing you have mentioned that don't do nakra at all.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And Nakra is not I mean, Nakra in different sense is good, but I think in job, Nakra doesn't work.
Doesn't do
Yeah.
right.
So I think, yeah, Nakra or ego is one thing that I would never,
Hmm.
I would recommend not to carry with
हाँ तो एक क्विक चीज ये है कि जब कई बार आप किसी लेवल पे पहुंच रहे होते हैं तो आपको पता भी नहीं चलता कि आपके अंदर ईगो आ गया है उसके लिए व्हाट आर द साइंस हाउ पीपल वुड नो दैट
I think more than science should be, I go back and look at what I just said to you about relationships.
या
Right? You always need to have a mentors and people
या
surround you who
एब्सोल्युटली
can bring you down, right? So,
हम्म
so that's an interesting question. I have mentors outside of the industry,
या
outside of my own set of people that I meet every day and all this stuff.
या
So I am able to talk to people from manufacturing, from pharmaceutical, from other companies, not from software industry because we talk the same lingo, same language, same problem, same
ट्रू
everything. So
ट्रू
and everybody's problems are similar, industry is similar, so you need to have senior people who have seen the life
हम्म
from different aspects of life, and you
हम्म
need to have an ability to have a chat and even take a world wisdom from them, and they will
या
point out to you, if you have the real people who you have good relationship with unbiased opinions, they'll bring you down in like 2 minutes, right? And
एब्सोल्युटली
ये तू गलत कर रहा है, this is not done, right? So this is
या
not, this hasn't worked for me, this hasn't worked for this kind of stuff. So
एनीबडी या
so I think that if you surround yourself with mentors and right kind
या
of people and build those relationships, I think that helps to
दैट
keep
हेल्प
your ego down and all that stuff, and it kind of levels you up. Yeah.
एब्सोल्युटली वेरी वेरी अमेजिंग पॉइंट व्हिच यू हैव सेड बिकॉज़ लोगों को पता ही नहीं चलता कि वो ईगो ट्रिप पे आ गए हैं या क्या है लोग उनको खींच के नीचे ले आते हैं अगर मेंटर्स होते हैं आसपास ऐसा काम स्पाउसेस भी करती हैं वैसे
हाँ, देखो वो जो फोरगोन चीजें हैं ना, उनको तो आप यू कैन नॉट डिनाई दैट, राइट? सो वो
या
दैट इज राइट. So
but right
yeah,
mentors are important. Great.
that's right.
So one thing you want our viewers to know about, or you want to leave a message, anything which you want to share?
Yeah, I mean, I think not a message, but I would definitely want to say that as you start your journey
Mm-hmm.
in your careers, or when you're mid level people who are
Right.
looking at, I would always recommend that don't run after. So two things that gives me this thing. Two
Sure.
things. One, never run after money.
Hmm.
Okay. If you're doing the right thing and if you're following your passion, if you know what you're going after, money will follow. It's a done deal.
Money will flow in
It
automatically.
will follow. It will follow.
True.
There is
I
no
agree.
option that will not follow, right?
I
So
agree.
so I
Yeah.
think that, if you follow money, it'll वो आगे भागेगा, right? So
हाँ
there's no end to it, right? So
हाँ आप हमेशा पीछे हैं
आप पीछे हैं
So,
क्योंकि कोई आपका ऐसा साथी जरूर होगा जो आपसे आगे निकल जाएगा, फिर आप उसके पीछे भागोगे. So
wow.
you have to have your own goal and
Yeah.
your own passion. Follow your passion.
Yeah.
I think
Mm-hmm.
that's very critical. The other thing
Right.
that another manager of mine actually said, and I kind of kept it with me for very long,
Mm-hmm.
still
Mm-hmm.
carrying it, is don't create and don't live in a toxic culture,
Very true.
right?
Very
So,
true.
so as a manager, if you are a manager,
Hmm.
don't create a toxic culture of work environment around you, even in family. Otherwise,
Right.
you can't cut your losses. But
Hmm.
in a work environment, if you are
Hmm.
in accidentally into a toxic culture or whatever, try
Yeah.
and cut your losses fast, right? And
Right.
find out something that works for you and is
True.
not hindering on your personal values and all that stuff. So I think those are the two things. Don't follow the money, and money will
Toxic
follow.
work.
Again, both of them were actually given to me by one of my manager, and I kind of kept it with me. And I think
Yeah.
that's worked for me. And I would probably pass on the baton to a lot of other people to really ponder
Right.
upon it. It'll work for some, it'll not work for some, but
Right.
generally that has worked for me.
Absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing your amazing wisdom with us. And thank you so much for coming on the show for us. Thank you
Thank you.
so much again.
Thank you
Bye bye.
so much.